Last week, I compared Rolling Stones' album Let It Bleed with James Brown's album Live at the Apollo. And now, after much anticipation, I finally have the results. And the winner is, drum roll please, Let It Bleed! While Live at the Apollo has been eliminated, Let It Bleed has just moved on to the second round. Anyway, I hope you enjoy this next comparison. In the 1960s, Robert Zimmerman, aka Bob Dylan, rose to popularity and went on to become one of the most successful songwriters of all time. The two albums I'm comparing today are by him, which are Bring It All Back Home and Highway 61 Revisited. But what album is better? Well, let's find out. In January of 1965, Bob Dylan began recording his fifth studio album. This new album would mark Dylan's departure from acoustic music to electric music, with half the music being acoustic and the other half electric. This was also the point in time when Dylan formed his own backing band, which he called The Band, and he would record with them for the following years. The album, Bring It All Back Home, was recorded in just 3 days and released 2 months later in March 1965. While the album was controversial at its release, it sold very well, peaking at number 1 in the UK charts. After Bring It All Back Home was released, Bob Dylan began recording his sixth album, Highway 61 Revisited. Highway 61 Revisited was an even further departure from Dylan's older style. The first song recorded for this album was Like a Rolling Stone, which was written in one night as a 20-verse poem. Bob Dylan's producer, Tom Wilson, brought in Al Kooper to play organ on the song Like a Rolling Stone. Unfortunately, at that time, Al Kooper did not know how to play organ, so he mainly improvised. When Like a Rolling Stone was released as a single, it sold very well. In addition, Highway 61 Revisited also sold very well and received critical acclaim. Alright, now that we've gone over the history of both albums, I think it's time we discuss the styles of each album and its importance. Bring It All Back Home uses styles such as blues and folk rock. Lyrically, it is a departure of Dylan's protest songs and more surreal and abstract. Highway 61 Revisited is very similar since it is the following album in Dylan's catalog. However, some of the key differences between Highway 61 Revisited and Bring It All Back Home is the amount of electric instruments. Highway 61 uses more electric instruments on the record than Bring It All Back Home, except for one song. Because of this, it is considered more hard rock. Lyrically, it is proven to be more cynical as well as surreal. If you still haven't decided which album you prefer, I'm going to play 3 clips from each album, and then you get to decide.
I'm not sleepy, and there is no place I'm going to. Hey, Mr. Tambourine Man, play a song for me in the pencil in your hand. You see somebody hate you. Say, who is that, man? Well, no more. I ain't gonna work for Maggie's brother no more. Ain't by a thrill. Well, I've been up all night, leaning on the windowsill. John is in the basement, mixing up the medicine. I'm on the pavement, thinking about the government. The man in a trench coat, that job laid off, says he's got a bad cough, wants to get it paid off. Look out, this bill. How does it feel to be without a home?
So, which album is better? Well, that's where the you decide it aspect comes in. Click on the link in the description below, and that'll bring you to a poll where you, the viewer, get to decide which album you like better. But overall, I highly recommend you check out both albums as they are both very good. Feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. Bye.